Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I do appreciate it. It is Christmas Day, early Christmas afternoon, and Santa Claus hooked a brother up with some books. And I've already unboxed one, and it was A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens from the Folio Society. And this one is from Easton Press. I asked for two books for Christmas. One was from the Folio Society. The other one was from Easton Press. So I'm not that smart, but I might know what's in here. Anyway, let's open it up before I start talking, just to make sure I know what I think I know. Let's see if we can get this open. It's been a little while now since I bought one from Easton Press, and maybe I don't need a sharp instrument to get it out of the box. So let's see how this goes. Easton Press ships these books in relatively small boxes compared to the book. But one of the things they do is there's a lot of extra stuff sticking out on the ends. And this is where the books tend to get the most damage, as the corners getting bashed. So far, I've had good fortune with these. And this one did take a bit of a hit. But the way the box is shaped, I'm hoping I'm protected. I haven't had one yet from Easton Press get damaged on me. So maybe my luck holds. But I can't remember how you open it. So we're doing this the hard way. And I think I got it figured out. And it turns out Santa, Mrs. Claus, was listening when I mentioned a couple of books that I wanted. One was A Christmas Carol from the Folio Society. And one was Dark Matter. Easton Press recently, very recently, put up for sale signed editions of Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. And if you haven't read Blake Crouch, get to it. This fella is something else. And if you haven't read Dark Matter, get to it. This is a phenomenal book. One of the best books that have come out in a while. I read this book, I believe I read this book in 2021. Anyway, I think I read it in 2021. And I was blown away by this story. It didn't take long for me to realize that I was in. It didn't take long to get me hooked. This was a book that, it was like the heat just kept getting turned up hotter and hotter and hotter on the main character. And I won't get into it. I've done somewhat of a review on this book before, but it's hard to review because the spoilers come very quick. Early in the book, you probably can, 30 pages in, you're getting into spoiler territory. So I don't want to give a whole lot. I won't give anything. How's that? But I strongly recommend Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This was the first book I read by the author. When I found out the Folio Society was going to be publishing it, I said I need to read that. And I read that book, and I loved it. Phenomenal book. And then from there, I read Recursion, and then I read the Wayward Pines trilogy from Blake Crouch, and one of my very favorite authors. Phenomenal work on those fronts. But this came along with my Folio Society edition, a note about Dark Matter and the author Blake Crouch. And this is in thick, it's like card stock, very fine quality stuff. It tells a little bit about the story, a little bit about the author. I can feel, I don't know if it's letterpress printed or not. I feel a lot of texture, but that may be in the paper. Anyway, a neat addition to the book. And then it comes with this Easton Press Certificate of Authenticity. And they look signed. I don't know. I don't know if those are true signatures or not. I've always taken it that they were indeed signed by the author, by the witness, and by Jeffrey P. O'Neill, publisher of Easton Press. And this was dated 5/3 of 2022. But again, a nice addition to the edition. Now with Easton Press, we've got our end papers here. Hear that texture. Very common in the later Easton Press editions. Right away, this leather-bound edition of Dark Matter is personally signed by Blake Crouch. There is our signature page. And I love signed books. I don't know about you, but to me, signed is always better. And that's one of the things that I get excited about Easton Press. They're really putting a lot of excellent signed books out there. And I don't know about illustrations in this book. It seems like the signed editions that I've gotten as of late from Easton Press don't have additional illustrations in them. And it doesn't appear as though this one does either. So I'm flipping through quickly just to make sure. But I don't see any additional illustrations. A lot of folks want to know, what does it look like if I'm going to read this book? And there is our text size. That's what the page looks like. A bit of a creamy color, kind of small print, not tiny, bigger than the mass market paperback edition. No, I read a trade paperback edition, so bigger than what I read probably, but not giant. And as always with the Easton Press editions, you get this built-in ribbon page marker. You get a bonded leather cover and typically some sort of a design that would apply to the story. Very nice books. It's got the hubbed spine. I always call them ribbed, but these little bumps on the spine adds a little bit of class to the book. And as always, the 22 karat gold gilded page edges on 3 sides. Very fine edition, nice quality sewn binding. I like what I'm getting here, so I keep coming back, obviously. Anyway, Dark Matter is this fella. He's teaching in college. He had the possibilities of becoming a big deal in science. It was going to be a big deal. Everybody assumed he would be. But he ended up having a kid and made choices that affected those things. The story gets into all kind of stuff. But essentially, he's teaching at a school. He's a little bit depressed, a little bit down because he never achieved those things that he had ambitions for, that he felt like he should have, that everybody else expected him to achieve, feeling a little bit low. And he's at a bar, at a party with one of his longtime friends, and this guy achieved everything that he was expecting to achieve. And even said as much. You should have been the one who was doing all these things, not me. You're better than I ever was. He's walking home from the bar feeling depressed, down in the dumps, knowing that he's got no reason to be depressed, but he really is. And then something happens and everything changes, and somehow we got to get back to the things that we love. And I won't tell you anything else, but this is an amazing story. It's a story that as I was reading, I started feeling more and more like there's no way, there's no good way this story can end, there's no way to solve our problems, no way to wrap it up, no outcome that I could accept. But I was wrong. Not only did I have no idea how this would happen, but it was delivered. So Blake Crouch did a number on me, left me at the end of the day. He stuck the finish, we'll just say that. A lot of great authors can tell great stories, but they have a hard time sticking the finish. And with every Blake Crouch book I've read, he leaves me feeling like this one is going to go, it's not going to work. But every time, so far, he stuck the finish and he gave me something that I can be excited about. Not always saying it's going to be the best possible outcome, I'm not saying that, but to give me a finish that leaves me feeling like I got a good ending and it was ended well. Problems and things like that, all those kinds of things addressed in a way that I could tolerate and that I could dig it. Anyway, that's the only lies I can think of to tell. I do truly like this. Really glad to have it on the collection. It's actually not going to go in my Easton Press lineup. Some of these books I feel transcend publisher. No insult to Easton Press, but I've got a Blake Crouch collection. That's what I'm saying. So this one is going in the Blake Crouch collection, not in the Easton Press collection. I've got a few books that have done that, where they've been pulled from the publisher's lineup and stuck with the author's collection, because Blake Crouch is one of my guys, one of my authors that I truly, truly like. So he's got his own section. This one's going in there along with other editions of Dark Matter. Anyway, thank you for your time. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Thumbs up. I dig it, man. And that's the only thing I can think of to say. So, c'est la vie, baby. Doo-doo.